good morning. So, today we have someone who is a software engineer who is also a data driven growth marketer who founded Metadata to make demand generation much more easier for non technical marketers. Let's welcome Gil on 10 minutes of hiring wisdom. So, Gil, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Manal. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, Gil, can you tell us about how you founded your company? What was the motivation behind it?
Yeah, of course. I'm a software engineer, like you said. I came to the United States a long time ago with the idea of starting a company, but I needed to gain some experience in between. So I did my master's degree in Boston, and then I worked almost a decade in the marketing role, being closer to the commercial part. And I realized as an engineer that there are a lot of broken parts in B2B marketing, especially a lot of manual work that is being done by people. And again, as an engineer, I wanted to remove this inefficiency. And instead of keep working as a marketer and using the inefficiency to my advantage, because I automated a lot of that work, I essentially wanted to make myself a commodity. And that was my inspiration to start this company, which is like an artificially intelligent marketer doing all the technical repetitive work for you.
Wow, that does take away a lot of the work that people do and spend a lot of time doing. So, I mean, hats off to you for creating something that's efficient and helps non-technical marketers actually like not spend a lot of time there. So, thank you for coming up with such an innovation in the first place.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. It's been cool.
Of course. So, can you, as in, like, can you go more into depth regarding your company, what it does?
Yeah. So what our software does essentially is jump through all the process of executing campaigns. So we found out that the biggest bottleneck in B2B marketing is not necessarily the data, a lack of data or a lack of technologies or a lack of channels, but it's the marketers themselves. They have a lack of time or expertise. Many of the marketers come from creative background, right? People like Mad Men from, Don Draper from Mad Men, right? They come up with like cool ideas and concepts, but they don't necessarily want to enjoy doing the technical repetitive work of setting up campaigns, monitoring them, applying data, doing A/B testing or multivariate testing, etc. And so that's what our software does. It removes the human from execution and puts AI instead, so that people, marketers, can move back into creative work and strategic work and work on what they do best and enjoy.
Okay, wow, that sounds like that sounds a lot of work, but then again, I think that's a really good idea. So definitely can, as in like I would like to work for a company like that. So thank you for creating something like that. So Gil, can you tell us about whether you're hiring for your company, and what are some of the challenges that you face, specifically hiring in a pandemic environment, for instance?
Yeah, we are hiring. We're hiring for many different roles. We're hiring for advertising operations, head of ops. We're hiring for two AEs, account executives and sales positions, customer success. We're hiring for a product manager. We're also hiring for another senior engineer, even an intern. So we're hiring quite a lot right now.
Okay.
We're growing. Um, we're a little bit of a different company than the usual, I think, because we were kind of remote before this even started in 2020. We were already more than half the company in 10 other countries. So we used to be in San Francisco only, but I am already not there. I'm in the Caribbean. I live in the Dominican Republic with my family. Many of our team members really are in 10 other countries. So we're only, 50 people? So Brazil, Mexico, and many, many other places, Ukraine, etc. One of the challenges that we have is just getting really good talent and quickly. So getting good talent within, I don't know, a month or a few weeks from when we want to start hiring that talent. So yeah, if you have good talent pool, people who are genuine hustlers, they want to work in a place that is very kind of authentic, and they want to grow and they're comfortable with growing and being in their own comfort zone, we're a good place to work for.
That sounds wonderful how globalized your team is. And I think you guys were prepared before the pandemic even happened, considering you guys already had a remote team. So it must have not been that hard to actually transition into something like that.
Yes, it's true. We were lucky. My VP of product, Olena, she always wanted to work in an island. And so she told me, like, look, I really want to work in an island. I told her, that's great. Well, I mean, help make the company remote. make sure that we can actually perform well. And you got it. And it took us basically a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years. And she's like, "Look, we're fully remote now." I told her, "You're right. Now you can go to an island." And now she
So
lives
she's
in an
living
island.
on. Oh wow! So which island does she live on? Just out of curiosity.
Andreas. It's an island on the border of Mexico and Texas.
Oh, that must be nice with the weather and everything. I'm jealous. That sounds
Yeah, I
wonderful.
think she likes it over there.
That sounds wonderful. So you're with your family in the Caribbean, you have people in Brazil, you have people in like on islands and everything. So that sounds like a very wonderful idea, especially because you're prepared for the unexpected, which was the pandemic in this case. But then again, I think how, for example, how do you do you have any problems when you're working with remote people or and everything, or you do you think your company has adapted already to the remote conditions where you guys just work together really well? How do you cope with the differences in time zone? Like, what are your expectations when you're especially managing a remote team?
Yeah, there are things that you have to put in place. I think more than half of it even is culture, and then there are some processes that you have to keep in place. So I'll talk about the culture first because that's the harder thing I think people have to go through. People sometimes are very accustomed to old ways, and so they're accustomed to being in the office. Some people prefer to be in the office. They like to hang out with people physically, um, and they're also afraid or concerned about working with people with a different language or different culture or different way of doing things, different kind of character, but we embrace it. I think lots of people in our company have come to the conclusion that you can have all kinds of people. And when I say all kinds of people, I mean anything from age, gender, characteristic, introvert, extrovert, all kinds. And they work really well together. They may get some time to get used to one another because we're different, but it's actually a superpower. And I'm not using it as a cliche, like not for, you know, not for how do we say it, not for like not just to say that you're diverse so that you can check that checkbox, but it actually becomes a competitive advantage because you end up opening your company to talent that was previously not wasn't available, you know. um, I sometimes make the tell the story that I interviewed many years ago, like maybe 15 years ago or 20 years ago already, uh, to a software engineering company when I was still in Israel. And the guy was asking me like million questions, and I was doing really bad in the interview. Like I was really screwing the interview. It couldn't be worse. It was just like I was sweating. Half the questions he asked me, I was wrong, and I told him like, "Look, this is terrible. I can't do this anymore. Like you should either we finish the interview and go home because this is like really brutal, or you give me a problem to solve, get out of the room. I can hear your team like laughing at me in the behind the rooms, just like get out there, ask them for a real project for me to do, leave me in the room for 3 hours, then come back. If I did something good, give me an opportunity. If not, you got maybe some lines of code and let me like let me go with honor back to my house. And he did, he went to his team. He told me, "We love what you just said. Here is a problem. Good luck." He came back an hour and a half into it and told him, "Not yet. I'm not ready yet." And he went back, and 3 hours later, he opened the door. I told him, "Look, this is what I did. Take a look." And he previewed like, I don't know, a few screens of code that I wrote. And he told me, "You have the job." He gave me an offer like on the spot. And I remember that as such
Wow.
a event because I was like, all right, I may be a little bit of a weirdo doing that, but it opened up this opportunity that otherwise wasn't available to me. And it reminds me of always doing that for people that I interview. Like even if they're terrible interviewees, there might be something actually magical that I'm missing out, and I have experienced benefiting from that before.
I absolutely love that. So, as in, like, just being yourself, and at the end of the day, making sure that your strengths are visible, even though, for example, you might not be strong when it comes to like speaking and everything, but then showing that you're actually good for the role by showcasing your problem solving skills was definitely something that's very insightful. Because I think most of us, if we think that our interview isn't going well and everything, we just lose hope and we're just like, let's just finish. But you actually decided to showcase your strength here, which was your problem solving skills, and it worked out well for you. So, good job.
That time, right? Not every time, but this one was a good incident that I remember really well.
And that sounds wonderful. So, Gil, you're definitely hiring. You have a global team. And if people do reach out to me specifically, I will definitely forward them to you because it is definitely very hard to find the right talent. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Gil. It was an honor to have you as a guest. Thank you so much.
Same here. Thank you for having me.
Of course.